What does a contraction feel like? How do I know if I'm in labor? And what does the day of labor look like? Wait, is this normal? Hey, I'm Heidi. My best friends call me Hides. I'm a certified birth doula, host of this podcast, and author of Birth Story, an interactive pregnancy guidebook. I have supported hundreds of women through their labor and deliveries, and I believe every one of them and you deserves a microphone and a stage. So here we are. Listen each week to get answers to these tough questions. Birth Story, where we talk about pregnancy, labor, deliveries, where we tell our stories and share our feelings. And of course, chat about our favorite baby products and motherhood. And because I'm passionate about birth outcomes, you will hear from some of the top experts in labor and delivery. Whether you are pregnant, trying desperately to get pregnant, or you just love a good birth story, I hope you will stick around and be part of this birth story family. You guys, my book is out. It is out in the world. I cannot believe it. I have been writing it for several years and it's just mind-blowing. Birth Story, Pregnancy Guidebook and Journal is a one-of-a-kind discovery into your pregnancy that provides you education through storytelling. So what's it really about? In the 16 years that I have served women with every personality type, I noticed there was a huge disconnect between what my clients were craving for childbirth education in a book and the books that were actually available on the market. There seemed to be unlimited resources if you are looking for an unmedicated birth or a natural birth or a home birth. But there just weren't a lot of resources for my clients who were part of the 92% of women birthing in a hospital and very much open to medical interventions like an epidural, nitrous oxide, and opioid medications. So I wrote that book to fill the gap for you. Week by week throughout your pregnancy, you will engage with material meant to educate and empower you as you plan for your own birth story. Hospital, medicated, unmedicated, or something in between. You are welcomed each week with a postcard from the womb, which is an adorable note from your baby about their miraculous development, as well as the amazing changes occurring within you. Then you are invited to use an uplifting birth affirmation and to respond to an introspective journaling prompt to document your feelings, curiosities, and wonders every single week. With room to memorialize your own birth story, this book will become a memory keeper and a legacy gift for your baby. You are encouraged to read one of my favorite birth stories each week, filled with childbirth education, tidbits, and explanations of important medical terms and procedures. These are real-life accounts shared with permission from the births that I've attended during my career as a doula. And I gave you a great mix. In the 42-week guide to your pregnancy and 42 birth stories, 7 of them end in cesarean section. About half are unmedicated and the other half are medicated deliveries. This is a judgment-free book. So take what you need from each element and leave the rest. Okay, are you ready to buy? I would love for you to go to birthstory.com and buy it directly from me. But I totally get it if you're an Amazon girl. You can head to amazon.com and just type in birth story pregnancy and the book should pop up. I'll deliver it straight to your doorstep. And I would venture to say that you might be an audiobook kind of woman because you're listening to a podcast. So if you would prefer to listen to this book, then I have recorded it and it is available for download at audible.com or on your Audible app. Thank you for being part of the Birth Story community. I am so excited for you to have this book in your hand once you've purchased it and it has arrived. I hope that you will give me your thoughts and feedback, and don't forget to take a selfie with your book and post it on Instagram and tag at Birth Story Podcast. Episode 56, Meet Brooke. You guys, did you listen to episode 55 on float therapy? Because if you did, then you've already met Brooke. Brooke is one of my doula clients. Last week, I interviewed her midwife, Dr. Alexandra Montgomery, and Brooke, and we went to the float spa to do some float therapy. So if you haven't listened to episode 55, I would start there. But I thought it was fitting to bring Brooke back on. And this is a divergence from my usual podcast format because I actually recorded this over Zoom at the very beginning of the coronavirus in March. Brooke was my last client that I attended in person before all of the hospitals shut down. And we felt it was safe to do her postpartum visit on Zoom. And so I just hit record. We weren't at the time recording it for a podcast episode. We were just kicking it, having fun, talking over each other, laughing a lot. So if this is the very first episode that you are listening to, just know this isn't the traditional format for the Birth Story podcast, but we had a lot of fun. There is so much to learn from Brooke. Turns out it was a good thing that we did our postpartum visit on Zoom. Brooke and her husband and the baby actually all contracted the coronavirus. And so Brooke and her husband and the baby are all doing well, but they were the first clients that I had ever had that were infected with the coronavirus. Now, Brooke is a nurse practitioner. She's very science and data driven, and she actually has donated her breast milk to the University of California, San Diego for a study to see about the efficacy and the potency and the antibodies that are living in her breast milk. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's very unique. It's fun. And we're just sharing her birth story in real time during a postpartum visit.
And so I tried to start timing the cramps, but I'm like, it was hard to time them because I'm like, they're not even that strong. So I can't really say when they start or stop. And I laid in bed for like an hour and a half. I couldn't sleep. I was just getting these cramps. So I was like, I'm going to get up. Maybe I just can't get comfortable. I'm going to go and lay on the couch and not wake Jason up. So I laid on the couch. They started getting stronger. And so I ran another bath. This was at like 10:45.
Okay.
And I laid in the bath until 11:30 when Jason got up to be at work at midnight. Yeah. So he was up and he got up and was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, so I think
she's passed out at
yeah.
8.
Because I'm an early night girl. So he's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, I don't want you to panic, but I think I might be in labor. I called Heidi. She said that this could last for days or that I could be at labor at 2 a.m. So I'm comfortable here in the tub. I'm going to just lay here and you go and I'll text you. If like things get intense, I'll just text you.
Okay.
And he's like, okay. So I sent him away, laid in the bath, came back out on the couch, Googled how to know you're in labor.
Okay.
Like,
ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Watched a couple YouTube videos, that kind of thing. And then, I was timing my contractions. They were getting a little easier to time and they were like 4 to 6 minutes apart.
And when you say they were easier to time, you mean you had like a distinct start, a distinct peak,
right,
and a distinct stop. Okay. Right. Versus like all day long, that just crampiness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because I couldn't distinguish those because it was just like, there's no really stop end part. It's just kind of like dull in there. But yeah, they started getting to where I could say like, okay, now it's happening and now it's not happening. Yeah. So I was able to kind of easily do that. And so around 1:25, they started, that's when I text Jason. And I actually called, did I call you or text me? Yeah. Okay. What did I say? I don't even remember.
I think you need to come home.
Yeah. I think you need to come home.
Then I called her.
So were you like, I probably, were you like, because you had seen her before you left for work, were you like, oh, she's in labor? Or what were you thinking?
I was like, what am I going to do when I get home?
When he called me.
Like, I was just thinking like, oh, this isn't real. Because they said 12, within the next 12 days. So I wasn't thinking.
Oh yeah, that's what Alex told me. Alex said, I expect you to go until when she checked me at 1. She said, I would expect you to go. Because I was like, he's big. My weight had gone up so much. And I was like, I'm not even in the mind space to talk about my weight today. Like, I'm ready to have this baby. This baby's full grown. I'm ready. Like, if I'm not in labor by next week, you're stripping my membranes. I need to go into labor. Like, it's time. And you were only 38. That was your 38-week appointment. On the day. Yeah. Okay. I had him at 38 and 1 day.
38 and 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jason, did you come home?
So I was working with Jose and I said, hey, Jose, I told him in the beginning, like, hey, I might have, because we were just watching concrete, like, get poured in a high rise. Yeah. So we were just standing there. Like, we were both like falling asleep. And I was like, I might have to leave tonight. I'll let you know.
Okay.
And then I get the text and I was like, hey, Jose, I got to go. And he's like, you got to go? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I'm about to have a baby. And he goes, oh, shit. He's like a baby?
That's
I was like, a baby.
Yeah.
And,
That's awesome.
He called me and was like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And I said, no. Well, I said, what did I say? No, I just lost my train of thought. You threw me off, boy.
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
it's okay. 2 days postpartum.
You should have
3
seen
days
us at the doctor's appointment this morning. We together formed sentence like.
I'd like to meet you.
Yeah, I said, I'd love to meet you. And he was like, did you just hear yourself? I was like, no. Yeah.
All day. All day just talking.
Okay. No, so Jason's like, okay, well, I'm going to come home, but like, what am I going to do? We hired a doula.
Yes. And I say,
to do the work.
Sit there.
And I say, I just need you here. That's all I said. I said, I just need you here. I need somebody here. So I just need you to come home.
Okay.
Then I drove halfway home with my lights off.
He was like dazed.
And I saw a car with their lights off, and I was like, "Look at that idiot!"
Oh my!
My lights aren't on.
This is awesome. Like, I'm that person. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I had all the lights in the house off. I had the candles lit, and I had some like Spotify peaceful meditation music on, and I was on the birthing ball.
Okay.
With just a bra and socks on, I think.
Blanket over you.
And I had a blanket over me, and I was just bouncing on the ball. Because I'm like, if this is true labor, bouncing on this ball is going to make it get more intense. So I'm just going to do that. And, and so I did that. And, I texted him when he was on his way home, and I said, can you please come in quietly and peacefully?
Okay.
And then I turned all the lights on.
And then he came in and turned all the damn lights on and was like making the damn sandwich.
Like, I can't see. I'm hungry.
You're going to tell her about the bag? The bag?
Oh, so I had to pack my hospital bag 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Like, I need you to get this bag back. I'm like, I'm just bringing clothes. Like, what else do I need to bring? And I was like, she's like, let's get the stuff ready. So I go to get her bag, and there's nothing in it. And I'm like, where's all your stuff at? Like, I had mine ready 2 weeks ago. And she's like, well, it's laying out.
I had it laid out. I just hadn't put it in yet. So, and the baby's bag was also packed. Like, he had a bag, baby had a bag, and I had a bag. And of all three of our bags, mine was the only one that was not packed, which is why we forgot the birth plan.
That's okay. I had it. I got it.
Yeah. So he came in and was like turning on lights and
couldn't see.
And so we had like words with each other. Like, I was like, okay, this is not helpful. And he's like, well, I'm hungry. I don't know what you want me to do. You haven't packed your bag. I had to have my bag. Like, we just had words.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm going to load the car. And I'm like, well, we're not going anywhere. Like, I need you, if you need to eat, but like, we need to turn these lights back off. And I just need you to time my contractions for me. So I'll go pack my bag. You do what you got to do. And then, so we like came back into our space after he had done that. I had done my thing, turned all the lights back out. He started timing contractions for me. Okay. My mom's here. That's who you're hearing in the background. Okay. She's got the baby. And let's see how much longer. So we turned the lights back out. We had the meditation on, and I would just tell him start, and he would push start on the app. And I would just breathe.
We tied him for
through the contractions. Yeah. And so this was like from the time he got home until about, I would say 4:30 a.m.
Okay.
That we did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got, like, I got at 4:30, it was like to the point where
the last one, we started at 2:42, and the last one I timed was at 5:08.
Okay.
So that was when we actually went to the hospital. Probably.
That's when you said, let's pack we need to get ready to go.
Okay.
Then I said, oh shit, this is real. We're actually going to the hospital.
Because it got to the point where like I said to Jason, I don't know how many times I got into the bath again.
Okay.
So what, I don't know. I don't remember when I got into, he came and sat.
Did you check your own cervix at home?
Oh yeah. I tried and I couldn't reach it. So I made Jason check me. And he was like,
I don't know what I'm doing here.
I was like, I tried to like talk him through it. I'm like, you should be feeling like a round opening. It should be like kind of like it either maybe hard or so. I don't know, but you should feel something round. And he's like, I don't know. Everything just feels the same.
Do you think you got to the cervix?
I have no clue.
No, he did because I felt him get to the cervix.
I said, I don't know. Yeah. There's one spot that's different.
Yeah.
And he couldn't.
But I didn't know I had no clue what I was feeling for.
Yeah.
So I was like,
he couldn't even describe it. Yeah.
Everything was
okay. That's
so
awesome.
yeah, nothing.
Okay.
We had nothing. So we tried.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I decided that it was time to go to the hospital was when, like, I said to him, I feel like I'm not handling these contractions very well, I think. Like, I said that to him because it was to the point where, like, breathing through them wasn't easy or, like, it was hard. And I just felt like I'm not dealing with these very well. Like, I was cussing through them a lot, like, because they were way more intense. And so I was, like, cussing through them. And I was, like, when they were coming on, I was like, oh, shit. It was like one of those.
Yeah. So now, do you have a clear picture? Like when we met for our prenatal and you said, let me just give you like your verbatim. You're like, I want to have a natural childbirth. And you were like, but I'm like totally open to medical interventions if like I have to have one. And I don't know if you remember, but I was like, well, you're going to have an epidural then.
Yes,
and I was like very upfront with you about that. I was I was like, you have to be totally and completely committed. So do you understand that now? Like, does that make sense? Like,
and after that day, I changed my mind. Yeah, and I went to that full frame of mind.
Okay, perfect, which was awesome. Because
even though I was still asking for one, I was like, I did change my mindset.
So you're at home and that self-doubt's kicking in, which tells me like, I don't care what your cervix was doing at that point. It tells me like you are moving it. You were in transition. You were in active labor. You'd been active labor. And now when that self-doubt kicks in, it's like something's very different. So I don't even remember where I came into this picture. I have to like look at my text messages.
So we didn't text you until we got through triage.
I feel like I had one. I woke up to one. Hold on. Let me see what's on here.
I don't think I texted you, but maybe I did.
I feel like somebody texted me around like 5 a.m. or something. Update 5 a.m. Yeah. Been having contractions since 10:30. They aren't regular, but definitely getting more intense. Jason's been timing them and they range 4 to 6 minutes apart since 2:45. We're thinking about making our way to the hospital. Text me when you get this. And then the next one was, I love you. Text me when you get this. I'm like at 7 a.m. when I wake up. So the next one was like 5:30. We're at the hospital in the parking deck. And then like right around 5:45 or something, Jason called me. And I was like, yeah. I was like, okay. And I was so confused because I was like, no, I swear I woke up at like 2 and there was like no messages. So then I'm like, you're at the hospital? I'm like, wait, we've gone from like, I'm thinking I checked at 2 a.m. and there was no text messages. And now they're like at the hospital. I'm like, this is going really fast. So now I'm in panic mode. I'm like, I'm going to miss the birth. I'm like, I'm going to miss it. I'm like, how quick can I get there or whatever? So you guys still had to go to triage. Mm-hmm. That was fine. I wanted to ask you, like, all of a sudden there was an IV port. Were you just like, I don't care because you were in labor?
Yeah. So the contractions were even harder. Like even walking into the hospital, I cried walking into the hospital because I told Jason, like, I was crying because I was scared and I was crying because I was like, they're going to check me and I'm going to be a 3. And if they check me and I'm a 3, I'm getting an epidural. And I was just like, I was so sure that I was like being a wuss and not even hardly like, I was like, they're going to check me and I'm going to be a 3 or less and nothing.
Was that your threshold? 3 or less was epidural?
Yeah. Oh, I was like, yeah.
4 or more you were going to.
No, I didn't even have a number. Okay. I didn't even prep my brain for that.
But you were just afraid that you weren't that far because it was really fast. I mean, that's a really fast.
So I thought still in my medical brain, I'm like, this just started. I'm probably still in early labor. Like, why does it hurt so bad?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when we got to the front desk to check in, they were like, Heidi, I did everything you said and I couldn't even help it. But I was like
loud.
I wasn't loud, but when we got there, I held onto the counter and squatted to breathe and while they're trying to talk to me. And I'm just like, I'm like, and they're like, is this your first baby?
Oh my God, I know. Like, I told you it's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. So then they walked us back to triage. The nurse was like, go ahead and take off your panties. I was like, I'm not wearing panties.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not wearing panties. I came here to have a baby.
Right.
She's like, well, you can put this gown on. She checked me. I was a 6. She said 5.5, 6. She pulled out a ton of blood. I think it was a bloody shower. It must have been.
Yeah.
Jason was like, whoa.
Wow.
And
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. So, but what got me, because I was still breathing through the contractions. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this if I'm far enough along. What got me is she put me in the bed and put the monitor on me. And it was so uncomfortable to be on my back with the monitors on my belly. Like I couldn't. So she was like, well, we're going to get some blood work.
Like, this is my question. Like, who is that comfortable for?
I know.
What laboring mom is like, this position feels just
great.
Right.
Yes.
No one said no one ever. I just don't understand.
Yeah. And so she was like, and she left me. I mean, I was in there for how long were we in triage? It felt like forever to me.
Like 30 minutes.
Okay. It felt like a long ass time for me because I had several contractions while we were in there. And
this is why I'm so pissed they don't let the doulas in, because I would be like, get out of the fucking bed. Get out of the fucking bed. Get out of there. Stand next to the bed.
And I did. I hopped out of the bed. I put my ass almost on her because she had me. I did, didn't I? Because I was like, I'm getting a contraction. And my bare ass. Yeah, she was on the computer and I hopped out. I was like, sorry, I'm not getting in the bed. And so she's like, you're fine. But I think she was like,
yes.
And I had Jason turn the lights out. Like, I was like, Jason, hit the lights. Like, he was my man doula in the triage.
Yeah.
So she was like, we want to draw blood. Do you want me to start an IV? And I was like, no.
Hey, it's Heidi. I'm interrupting the podcast to let you know about a free resource that I've created for you at birthstory.com. All you have to do is go to birthstory.com and then click the tab that says The Workbook. Once you put your email address in, an entire resource library of all of my secret sauces are available to you for free as my thank you for listening to the Birth Story podcast and being part of this community. At birthstory.com, under the workbook, you will find a birth plan template, articles on circumcision, delayed cord clamping, flipping a breech baby, packing your hospital bag, acupressure points, placenta encapsulation, and so much more. There are over 20 free articles ready for you to download at birthstory.com. Now let's get back to this amazing episode.
So she did that, left the room.
Had
to call Katrina, and she had to do all the things she needed to do. So in between the time that she took my blood work, it was probably 10 minutes. The contractions were getting worse and worse. I said to Jason again, I'm not doing these. Well, I need to get in the bathtub. If I can't get in the tub, I need an epidural. Like, I can't do it on this bed right here.
Okay. So this is when Jason calls me.
Yes.
Because Jason's like, we're in triage. You need to get here. She's thinking about getting an epidural. And I said something like, if you just give me a chance, I said, I can get her through the end. If you, I don't remember what I said. I'm like, I can get her through the end if I can.
Yeah, if you can wait till I get there, I can get her to the end.
Yes, and he told me that, and I clung to those words. But before that, one other time the nurse had come in, and I was like, I can't do this. I want you to go ahead and start an IV. Let's get going on the epidural. Because she started the IV before you talked to Heidi.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she started the IV.
Wait, she started IV fluids.
Oh, no, she just started the port. She put the port
in. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, because I was like, what if I want pain medicine? She's like, we could do that to the IV too. So I was like, go ahead and give it to me. Then another nurse that hadn't even been in the whole damn time, I don't even know who the hell she was, came in and was like, I need you to sign these. It was like the epidural papers. I don't even know. So I signed them. Like, I signed the paperwork and everything.
Okay.
And then he called you.
Okay.
And you said, I can get her till the end. If you just let me get there, I can get her to the end. I held on to those words.
Good. I flew like the wind.
You did, but walking to our room, the nurse was like prepping me on how long it was going to take to get the epidural. They were in the middle of shift change.
Yeah,
so the anesthesiologist was in the middle of shift change, whatever. So I asked her, because I just wanted to get in the tub. That's all I wanted to do was get in the tub, because I knew at the bath at my house was so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, if you get an IV for the epidural, we have to start an IV of fluids. I had drank like 3 Cervices full of fluids while I was in there with Jason. I even said to her, I just had 3 liters of fluids. You do not need to give me IV fluids for an epidural, right? You just watch me drink 3 of these things. Because he was filling them up like on the tap in the disgusting hospital bathroom, because I was so thirsty.
Yeah.
And she's like, they need to give it through the IV. And I was like, well, can I get in the tub? And she's like, no, you can't get it wet. You can't get the IV wet. So you have to be in the bed.
Did you hear what I said when I got in that tub?
Yes.
When I got to you? I said, put your freaking arm in the water.
Yes, you did.
Like they can
sure
redo it.
You did. But then
I'm like, I'm going to get in so much trouble. I was like,
no.
I don't care. I'm like, you get that thing wet. You get it wet. You
they wrapped it, but no one said like, you can put it in there. You know, like
you probably still aren't supposed to, but I just was
I don't. Yeah, and you know that thing came out as soon as I got to my room. Like the nurse was like, "Oh, okay. Well, we were going to keep that in." And I was like, "It's going to accidentally fall out. That's what's going to happen to that." So it accidentally fell out. And then I asked her, what about morphine? Can you give me some morphine or something? And she was like, well, if we give you narcotic, you can't get into the water because we worry about you being too drowsy for the water. So that's when I was like, okay, get me in the water, because I'm not waiting in the bed.
Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Okay, because you get in the tub, the lights are completely turned off, and then I walk in.
Yes, right? You swooned in.
And I found like a really quiet, peaceful place, right? Like Jason's there with you. The nurse was very hands off. Like everything was pitch black. It was like everything was like calm and settled and like soothing. And like normally I would come in and like put in Himalayan lights or candles or something. But I was like, this pitch black is like working for you. So I was like, let's just, and you didn't have any music. And I was just like, I'm going to keep going with what's working. You know, so I just like let the environment be. But like I found you sideways with the arm in the air with the thing. And I was like, I took your arm and I pushed it in the water. And I was like, get it wet. I was like, we're going to get over this real quick.
Yes, you did. I love that you did that. And Jason describing, because we've told the birth story now to like family and friends a couple times. And Jason describing you coming in the room is hilarious. He's
like bags down, set the coffee down, let's go.
He's like, Heidi didn't even say hey to anybody. She just went, whoo. Put their coffee down. Like,
I don't know if it was your coffee. It was somebody's.
It was my coffee. Yeah.
Like
I drank it after your birth, you know?
So. In my mind, you were like the angel that like came swooping in, because like I heard in my head, I heard the people talking and I heard Jason talking to the nurse, and you just went like you shut the door and like, boom, you put your finger on my forehead. And I was like, oh, I can do this now. Like when you got there, I had like, yes, you're amazing.
And you did amazing. And you were in the middle of transition. It was like super obvious. Like that next hour and a half in the tub was like very difficult, right? Like the joke is like Jason was literally like 2 steps away. But like you thought he was on another island. Like you were
I didn't even know he was there. Yeah.
You were like, where is he? Where is he? And I'm like, literally right here. But like that's how in labor, like everybody has to be like in a cocoon, you know, right here, because otherwise you can't tell, like that is a mile away. You know, if it's within arm's reach, it's a mile away. So that was like so funny. But Jason's like having to fill out all the paperwork and sign the. You know, I won't video.
I didn't know any of that was going on.
I won't video the birth or whatever. Yeah, I shut that door and I was like, and then you did great work. Like you listened to everything I said when I was like, so I was asking you to relax for so long. And then it was like, then you stop when you need to like push and get aggressive, then you like, don't relax, you know, then like push or whatever. And so I'm trying to remember, but like you reached in and you were like the head. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to have a water birth. I was like, you had me totally fooled. I was like, you don't need to get out of this tub.
Yes.
You just like stay right here. I was like,
I remember that talk.
I'm trying to give
too.
you a bath cloth to like quiet your muscles because I didn't want them to hear you.
But they knew. They knew.
They knew.
Yeah,
And
they went like Jurassic Park sounds.
well, Maggie was
like-
like amazing. Maggie
Yes.
just kept, she did her little Doppler like every 30 or 45 minutes. And she knew you were pushing in the tub and like she didn't really care. But I'm trying to like, I don't remember like if it was when you were pushing or right before you started pushing when you checked your cervix and you were like, I'm complete, but it feels like there might be a little lip. And I said, I need you in a different position. I was like, I need you in a different position. I was like, I need you to squat forward because you were kind of leaning like kind of back in your squat position. I was like, I need you to go sideways over the tub and like lean forward. Well, right before that, I should say, was probably when we realized the bag of water was not the head. It was like the bulging bag of water. Because then you were like, wait, that's my bag of water.
Yeah, because it was squishy. It felt like a balloon.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to remember like which happened first. But anyway, you were like I think you went to check your cervix and you were like, could feel the bag of water. And you're like, what do I do? And I'm like, just break it.
Yeah, you said break it. If you break it, he will be here soon. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna break that shit.
I know.
And then after I did, I was like, why did I do that?
It was so funny. You were like, how do I break it? And I was like, do you have fingernails? I was like, I said, bear down. And then if you have fingernails, just whatever. Well, and then it released. And then immediately that next contraction was like much stronger. Like,
yes. And I was like so pissed at you. I was like, damn it. Why did you make me do that? Because the contractions were hard.
So much harder, but it gives so much more room for like him to come down and engage in your pelvis. And so I just was like, let's just get this done.
I know. And I remember you even saying that to me. I remember those exact words you said. He's going to have so much more room to come down into your pelvis. And I was thinking, I don't give a shit.
It's so funny because I never know if anyone can hear me. I'm like, I'm just going to say the few things.
I was on your voice the whole time. Like I heard just about everything you said.
Okay. Well, you cracked me up though when you're like, Jason, do you want to feel the head? And Jason goes right into the bath water. And then you're like, what do I do? And Brooke's just like, wait, your mom's right there, isn't she?
I was like, She's not, are you listening? She don't care.
Oh, okay. And Brooke's like, just finger me. And I'm like dying. I'm like peeing my pants. Oh my God. I'm like peeing my pants. I'm like, oh my God, you're so funny.
Just now this moment.
And then like, I will never forget too. I like the first two times, I think like I leaned forward to like talk to you and I hit
You fell in. I thought you were Jason trying to get into the water with me. And I was like, Jason?
But Jason was like, it's really slippery. I'm like, I'm good. Nope. I took a nosedive right into there and then turned on the jets when as I went in. I was like doula of the year over here. I'm going swimming in the bathwater and I'm turning on the jets every 5 seconds. Oh my God.
I forgot about the jets too.
Oh my gosh. It was so funny. And so.
Oh my gosh, those jets. They sucked.
So a couple of times I for sure hit it. Like I leaned forward on him and I was like, shit. I turned on the jets and then we couldn't turn them off. I'm like hitting that thing 100 times. I'm like, how do you turn the jets off? Like, but then there was this one moment where I was guarding you from them.
I said, you're on jet duty. And then they were like,
and I went like this to like guard them. And then they turned on and I was like, nobody touched them this time. I was like, I mean, maybe there's like a sensor, but
it's like a timer or something. It's gotta be.
Oh my God, it was horrible is what it was. But finally they stayed off or whatever.
He's like, we'll talk to maintenance.
Yeah. But I thought you were going to have your baby in the tub, like for sure. You were pushing so hard and so well. And I thought you were going to, and then Katrina came in. And you were just done with the water. She was like, can I check you? And you were like, yeah, get me out of here. I'm ready to.
Yeah, because I said, can you check me here? And she was like, no. And I was thinking to myself, well, I need to know, is that the head? And do I have a lip? Because if I have a lip, I need her to do something about it, like hold it back or something. And so that's when she was like, I can't check you in the tub. You have to come out. And I was like, I'm coming out then because.
Well, she said, to be fair, she said, I can check you in the tub. It just won't be that accurate.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember.
She said, I can check you in the tub. I'm just not sure if it will be that accurate. And you were like, I need accurate. And you flew out of the tub.
In my brain, I don't even remember that. I just remember her saying, we got to go out.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's what in my laboring brain, I heard we got to get out.
Yeah. Because your laboring brain needed accuracy. Like, there's no point of it if it's not accurate.
Yeah.
So you get out, she checks you. She's like, you're complete. And she said +1. She was like almost going towards +2. And I was like, oh, like amazing. And then we were like, okay, you just do your thing. And so I tied up the rebozo to give you some like tension to like, pull and kind of squat. And
that was really hard.
No. I mean like on the bed when it was the rebozo was on the bed.
Yeah. And you had me sideways.
Yeah. And then kind of like, I knew like, we're going to be doing this for a long time, or you can just get out of bed and you can do some deep squats and then we'll have your baby. And so I feel like I said something about that.
Yeah.
Like,
you said it so nicely. You were like, Brooke, you've been in the same position for a long time.
Yeah.
If you'll let me we need to switch it up a little bit. And he'll be here. Let me just show you. Like you sold me. I was like,
I know.
Okay.
I just felt like I know how hard it is, but like, I was like, you can do it. But I think you had 4 deep squat contractions. That was it. And like, I squeezed your hips through a couple of them to like open that pelvic. And then Katrina's like down on the floor with her like flashlight thing.
And I almost stepped on her.
Best midwife ever.
I know.
She's amazing.
I could have totally pooped on her.
Oh my, no, you weren't, you never pooped. I know. Saw you poop. Nobody, everyone pooped.
I asked him on day 2. I asked him while we were in the hospital.
You did not poop. I don't know how you didn't poop.
I don't know. I farted. I know. I farted. He said I farted.
I didn't, that wasn't, did you fart with me?
I don't know.
In the bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I didn't even think to ask if I had pooped or not until like 2 days after. And I was like, did I? And he's like, no, but I think you farted. He was like, it got kind of stinky for a second.
Oh my God.
I was like, well, that's embarrassing. Yeah. Which one's worse? The little bit of poop you could just wipe it away or like stink up the whole room where my whole birth team's like.
I didn't. Well, if it makes you feel better, I didn't even I didn't smell anything,
It was.
Yeah. So I tried, like everything was going so fast. I was thinking, gosh, she's not even like getting any of the spa treatment. So I tried to whip out a couple lavender ice cloths when your temperature started shifting. And, and I was having you like sniff some lavender and some clary sage, but like, I don't know. For a first birth, it went really fast, but it really speaks to staying at home for as long as possible. And, I don't know. But so I would, honestly, you had probably like a would you call it a 6-hour birth? 8 hours?
Well, we got to the hospital at 5:30.
5:30-ish.
And we had him at 9:50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but before that, I mean, it sounded like maybe you didn't even know you were in labor till like 1:30 really when you called Jason.
When I text him, and honestly, even then, Heidi, like my brain, I was so in my brain worried that I was going to be that mom that like, I think I'm in labor. I'm going to show up at the hospital. They're going to tell me I'm in false labor and that this could last a couple of days. Cause you said this could go on a couple of days or you could call me at 2 a.m. And I was thinking I'm going to be the couple days girl. That's going to be me. Like this is going to be me for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I was really like in my mind, I was really like, something's up. I'm going to the hospital, but I don't know if it's real labor. I just need Jason here no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh, Benji, our dog just laid his head down on Lincoln's.
Oh, get a picture.
I know.
So I got up and he took it off. But he scooted close.
Yeah, Jason got up and got distracted. But yeah, so I would say 5-6 hours. So when people say labor, they mean
from like 10:30 p.m. At 10:30, when you were like, something's happening. Well, at 7:30, I wouldn't have called it. But like at 10:30, when you were like, I can't sleep and I'm getting in the tub, that was probably like the real onset of like your cervix is
active labor.
No. So active labor is like 6 centimeters on. So active labor is what you were at the hospital for.
Gotcha.
So early labor was all like from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. That was like your early labor. And then your active labor was like, you know, from the hospital on, because you were 6 centimeters when you got to the
so
hospital.
then, that was fast. Because I was thinking like the 2 days before where I had cramping, like, or the day before that I had cramping counted as early.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say like you were in labor for sure, less than 12 hours.
Okay.
And then like, you know, I don't know. I don't even know when I would probably start. Like hearing your story, I would probably say I'd start your labor at 1:30 when you really kind of knew, you know, you
that it was, like Jason come home. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, really fast. I mean, and I always say to have a natural labor, you got to have two things. You got to have, a relatively short labor where like baby's cooperating and you have to be fully committed, you know?
Yeah.
And so you crushed it.
And Lincoln crushed it too.
I know. So did you watch your birth video? Like, so you did the squats. We could see the head was really starting to kind of like come up through the pelvic bone. You got in the bed and just pushed him right out. And I'm like, you fake filming as you saw. I was like, fake filming.
I know, I love it. But I'm so happy that you did that because I don't remember it that way. I remember being in the bed way longer pushing.
Oh no, you were in the bed for a very short period of time.
I think I even said, I remember saying at one point, what is taking, I might have not even said it. I thought it, but I was thinking or said, what is taking
I think you said it out loud. And we were like, oh my God. Like I kept trying to say like, and that's when we got the mirror out. That's right. You were like, what? It's taking so long. We're like, he's right there. We're like,
my mom a hug. She's leaving.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt like I was in labor forever. It felt like I was in the bed pushing like that, how you have me pulling on the rebozo on all fours. Cause I remember she checked me again, or did she check me again?
There was no more cervical check. She was just because you were complete and the head was coming down, but she would kind of like part your labias just to peek in on, the head. But essentially like, and I know you're a nurse practitioner, right? But like, so when you're really pushing effectively, we'll see this happen during a contraction. That means the head is so low. It's like parting the labias, but we'll also see all the area around your rectum and your perineum bulging.
Yeah, like my asshole.
Yeah. So like when I'm watching, when you're like, what's taking so long? I'm watching the head bulging and it's just like, and then your labias are parting and I'm like, the head's right there. It's just, to come up under that pubic bone is just kind of what takes a little bit of time.
So, and it didn't take that long because I was looking, because your pictures have timestamps. So it really didn't. I mean, I wasn't pushing that long, but it felt like 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes of that. It was like 5, 4.
Right. I was like, which even 20 minutes would be really short, but it was just not that long. Yeah. But you pushed so well. And then Katrina, pulls him out and Jason, you're just like bawling. It was so cute. And then we're like, I'm thinking you're on your hands and knees, but I'm thinking like, give her baby, So Katrina made sure he was okay. Everything looked good. And then I loved the pass through.
Yes.
The pass through the legs.
That was awesome.
And then my favorite part of the video, especially, is you went in prayer position over him. Like you just had this moment of just
exhaustion.
God, you're here, exhaustion plus protection. It was so sweet. And then, she let your cord stop pulsating for so long.
I know.
So long. I don't even remember how many minutes it was.
I looked at the video timestamp. It was 8 minutes.
Yeah. She waited so long. It was amazing. It was totally drained. Yeah. Which is so healthy and amazing.
I know.
And then she was just the best. I mean, I'd never worked with her before. And it was she's now my favorite, she's now my favorite.
And Alex came and saw me the next day and she was I was a little bit jealous, but I'm glad you got Katrina.
Yeah. Well, Katrina, what's interesting, she said, I was so thankful to be part of this birth. You had just delivered. You probably didn't even hear her. And she said, I was so thankful to be part of this birth. She said, I don't get to see these births very often, meaning natural childbirth, like, and just letting it, most midwives go into it for less intervention, and yet they still go to get in a medicalized, system.
Yeah.
So it was really neat to hear her take pause and like be thankful that she got to be witness to that and stuff.
And I remember her saying something like, this is the best way to start my day or something like that. I remember her saying that. And
it's nice and easy. Yeah. Like
loved her. Oh my gosh.
She was amazing. Yeah. But I was like, oh my God, there's a picture of me working,
Yes.
Like, where did this come from?
I love that photo so much because that hip squeeze that you were doing got me through those contractions.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I don't know if you remember, I said, if this does not feel good, you need to let me know. Cause it was a question mark on whether or not.
Oh, and I just didn't say anything?
No, for me, like when the baby's head gets so low, some people that's more painful depending on the position of the baby.
Oh,
and so I was
that
like,
that got me
going to be good or it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, you didn't say a word.
Yeah. Yeah,
you were saying it with a question mark on the end, like, let me know if this hurt.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy when you're in it because, like, I feel like I even said to you, that's good or something, but in my own brain, I guess I just was so in the moment. But I remember thinking, like, holy shit, thank God Heidi is here pushing right now because, like, you're pushing against. You were doing work. Yeah, you were helping. It was helping. Yeah. And that's what got me through. And I did not like that position.
I know. Nobody does. And I'm just like, you're going to hate me. But like, I need you to do this. Otherwise, you're going to push for 2 hours.
No, and I'm glad you did because the effort showed for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm so proud of you. It was crazy. It was so fun to be part of. I literally like walked out at 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, what just happened?
Thank you for listening to Birth Story. My goal is you will walk away from each episode with a clear picture of how labor and delivery might go, and that you will feel empowered by the end of your pregnancy to speak up, plan, and prepare for the birth you want, no matter